My longtime friend for many, many years, who's done an amazing job building CATA, and it continues to grow into all kinds of new areas, John Reid.
Thanks, Bill. I bet you don't know the first time the word ICANADA was used. I happen to know that.
Oh.
Because, like Bill has given me 3 minutes, 3 years ago I asked Bill to close our annual Innovation Gala and to give us a challenge. So 3 years ago, Bill, you closed the Innovation Gala. You talked about some of the metrics where we were declining in some, advancing in some. You spoke about concern of the broadband rankings. You talked about the need for leadership. You also said we should be focusing on the cities, the communities, and we should propel them to number one. We should have more international, first-class, digitally enabled cities. And that was 3 years ago, and then you used the word iCanada. So when you look at the agenda and you see the people, I think you should be feeling pretty good. And I can't think of anyone more deserving than a Jubilee Medal than tonight when you will be receiving one. I think your work has been outstanding, and I think this is the sort of thing that we should recognize by all communities and by the nation. So congratulations and thank you for your dedication.
Well, thank you, John. Thank you. I'm spending a lot of time in Russia, so we always clap for the audience, too.
Now, before Bill had his 3 minutes at our Innovation Gala, he took longer than 3 minutes, but the message is stuck. Earlier that year, and Barry's here, he will remember this, CATA coined the word Bedouin office. And I remember we did a couple of things. So we merged CATA with the university community because thought leadership is so important. You really can't be credible unless you support it by good research. And we thought the business model for the trade association was very symbiotic with the university community. We're actually housed in the university. We do a lot of work with research chairs. When we say things, we're very much seen as a trusted source because we take the time to do that diligence. Now, the Bedouin comment was a little more complicated. I don't know whether Fawn is here from IT World, but I had a call from one of her reporters, and I've known her for quite some time, and she said, "John, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about, Bedouin office. Like, are your people going to be wandering the streets, looking for bread and water? What do you mean Bedouin office?" Well, I said, well, that's really our passion about digital. I've given our people the mandate to look at every possible digital technology and embrace it as part of our operating model to be more efficient, to be number one. And they did it. And our team is here today, and I congratulate them. Suddenly our long distance bills became profit centers. Suddenly servers were gone. But we embraced the cloud. And I know the IBM people were happy because they called me up because they said, "John, you really get it." And this is like 4 years ago. And hence it doesn't surprise me that we quickly started to work with IBM on smart cities. Now, when you embrace digital technology, you also get involved in other things that people don't really understand at the time. Twitter. Well, people looked at me and said, "Twitter, why are you even bothering about Twitter? What's that all about?" Well, I was very excited setting Twitter up for CATA, I don't know, three and a half years ago. And I waited, and I got my first follower. I was very excited. So I did my research on our first follower because I didn't know much about the company. I certainly didn't know much about the executive. And then the company of the Twitter follower, CATA's first Twitter follower, we really liked what his CIO was doing. Well, they then won the CIO award that we presented at the Innovation Gala. We then got involved with the food bank at the end of the year, and they needed bread. So I sent a message to my first Twitter follower and said, "I know you're socially conscious. We've got a group that needs some bread." So 2 weeks later, through the social media, I get a call from the food bank saying, "We got a call, and we now have bread." And that first Twitter follower, who eventually became an iCanada sponsor, one of the first, was Peter Acito from Indirect. So Peter, I think we're a case study on the power of digital power, and a bit of an insight into how important adopting some of these new tools are. So we're passionate about ICANADA, we're passionate about leadership, we're passionate about innovation, and I really feel we're in good hands when I look at the people out in the audience and I see what you're doing within your individual constituencies. So we're on board with the mandate. Anything we can do, Bill, to help you out, we will.